Well, welcome back to Rio Centro Pavilion 3. Next up on table 2, we have a men's singles class 9 matchup. And this is the situation in Group E. The last is looking very good. The Dutchman, after defeating Sebastani from France by 3 games to love yesterday, it means that he only needs to pick up 1 game today to ensure that he moves through to the knockout phase. Not only would he move through to the knockout phase, but he would win Group E as well, because MIETTINEN, I'm afraid, lost his first match against Sebastani by 3 games to love, so his hopes hang by a thread. Umpire for this one, Yannick Varenot from France. This one a Class 9 matchup. Just to run through what that means. It means mild impairments of the leg or legs, or mild impairments of the playing arm, or severe impairments of non-playing arm, or mild cerebral palsy, or hemoparasis, or monoplegia. Tough one to call this, although you would favour the Dutchman last, particularly after that performance in his first group match against the Frenchman Sebastani. He leads their head-to-head 13-5, although the last couple of meetings were very tight. Came in 2015, last one the Slovenian Open, but also lost at the same tournament to MIETTINEN in 5 games. So MIETTINEN will feel that he certainly can beat his opponent, but it's going to take something special to win in straight games. Last currently ranked 8th in the world, but before the Paralympic Games in Rio, hadn't played in 2016. Had a solid 2015 though, won gold at the Belgium Open, silver at the Beirut Open, and silver as well in the Slovenia Open. He's a former gold medalist at the Paralympic Games. That achievement came in Athens in 2004, where he won a team gold with his nation, the Netherlands, and also picked up a bronze in singles in London 2012. So he's got plenty of Paralympic experience last. But so's his opponent. MIETTINEN played in both Beijing and in London. Finished 5th in the singles in Beijing in 2008. And finished 9th in the singles in London 2012. He's also finished 4th in the World Championships before that. One of his best performances, that came back in 2006 though in Switzerland. But after last excellent performance in his first group match, you would think he would be able to kick on and at least qualify through to the knockout phase. Remember, it's the top 2 who go through in the group. MIETTINEN, whose only hope to qualify now is to win by 3 games to love, after losing his opening match by 3 games to love, and then seeing last defeat Sebastani by 3 games to love. So how it tends to work is you get 2 points for a match win, 1 point for just playing the match, and then if everyone's level on match points come the end of it, so if there's 1 match win, 1 match loss, it goes back on the games ratio and then points ratio. And because of the games ratio and the situation that MIETTINEN finds himself in, he has to win by 3 games to love. And if that was to happen, then I'd need to get my calculator out, and we would go back on points ratio between the 3 players. .52 years of age though is the Finnish player, MIETTINEN. Had success, won the gold medal at the European Championships in the team event back in 2005. He's also won a couple of bronze singles medals at the European Championships in 2005 and in 2007. He's a former world number 2, now ranked 15th in the world. And he's up against a former world number 1, incidentally. Last achieved that last in April 2011. It'll be the Dutchman last then to get this Group E encounter underway against the Finland player, MIETTINEN. Got a good record, the Netherlands, in para-table tennis. 17 gold medals they've won in total, 52 medals overall, and 9th in the table tennis past medalist leaderboard, I should say. Finland have also won 8 golds in para table tennis, all of them coming in the men's. 22 medals in total. They're 13th on the table tennis leaderboard for past medals. Talked about last not playing a tournament this year. Miettinen hasn't played all that much table tennis either. Did win a bronze in the team event of the Slovenian Open. That was the only tournament he played. Overall, won 4, lost 4 in that tournament. And he's up against it already. Remember, he can't afford to even lose a game, otherwise he is out of the Paralympic Games, in the singles event anyway. And it's a nice, healthy lead for Last. He moves up 5-1. Controlled play so far from Last. Again, the forehand doing the damage. Timeout called by Miettinen. At the moment, it has been Last who's controlled everything in this opening game. So this is the situation at the moment in this men's singles match in the Class 9s. Group E is the group. And it's a healthy lead already for Gerben Last. And remember, just needs to pick up 1 game and he will move through as the group winner. 5 points away from doing that. As for Miettinen, he has to win by 3 games to love to have any hope of getting out of the group. But of course, he'll be playing for pride if he was to drop this first game. Last didn't have too much dialogue with his coach. It just shows how confident he is feeling right now. There's a far better point from the Finn. It's far more solid from Miettinen, getting on the front foot. A little bit of fortune for the Dutchman. Nice bit of backspin there from Miettinen. Just trying to neutralise at least that forehand from Last, which has worked very well for him in this encounter so far. And again, Miettinen able to counter-punch in the rally. He's back in this opening game. But a clever little return, that one, just dinking it over the net. Bit of backspin on it. Stops the run of points against him last and gives himself 4 game points. Well, even though Miettinen looks like he could well lose this opening game, he's certainly given himself some confidence to maybe take into the next one. Still 3 game points here for last. Well. What a turnaround in this. Well, it hasn't quite been a turnaround yet. Miettinen not quite there. But it has looked like a completely different spectacle. Remember, Miettinen was 7 points to 1 down. And now is right back in this game at 10-8. Still game point, though, for last. And this time he is able to take it. And with that game, it means that last will top Group E and move through to the knockout stages. I'm afraid for Miettinen, it means he now no longer can qualify. And will finish bottom of Group E, no matter what happens for the rest of this matchup. But he'll have given himself some belief that he can maybe turn the match around and win this Group E encounter. It was a valiant fight back from the Finn, but it is Last who takes the first game by 11 points to 8. So even though Last took the first game, you feel it's Miettinen with more of the momentum, having fought back from a heavy deficit. And continues to be in the ascendancy, takes the first point of the second game. It's a fine forehand up the line, really whipping around the ball. It's a great off backhand though from Miettinen. Moving around his forehand and going on the diagonal. Oh, it's one of the rallies of the tournament. It's a shame it ends on an error. But fabulous table tennis from Last to turn defence into attack in the end. Look how far back he was. Still able to go big, though, with the forehand. A wry smile from the Dutchman. Really entertaining point. That's another glittering inside-out forehand. It's a short, sharp action from the Dutchman. Very quick with the bat. Should be able to play with a bit more freedom, though, now, Last, knowing that he's picked up that game. He'll be well aware that that's enough for him to top the group, and so can just enjoy this one. I mean, he could even use it to try a few different tactics, helping himself out for the knockout stages. But he hasn't played too many matches in 2016, so he'll no doubt just be wanting to play his way into it and try and get the win under his belt to help his confidence. There's a lot of spin on the ball there. Too much for Miettinen. It's great aggressive table tennis from the Finn. Moment, Miettinen really, you feel, needs to somehow negate that forehand of the Dutchman. That's the shot that's really been getting him the majority of points. Clever serve, though, from the 52-year-old on that occasion. Neither player can get away from one another in this game. It's been a really tight encounter. After a really dominant start from Last in the first game, you thought he may well run away and ease to victory. It's been anything but comfortable for the Dutchman. 8 points apiece then in the second game. Keeps edging back in front though. Back to 9-all. So who's going to have the first game point? It will be Miettinen. I think that sums up how this game has gone for Last. He's just not been able to get away from his Finnish opponent. Delight for the Finnish fans in the crowd. Are they going to be shouting after this point? They are. Miettinen levels the match up by taking the second game by 11 points to 9. And even though he is out of the Paralympic Games after this match, in terms of the singles, showing some fight and some character. It's one game apiece. So third game, and it will be Last to get us underway. One game apiece. Fabulous forehand, really whipping it in the diagonal from the inside-out position. say, such a fast action, very tough to read and deal with it. Nearly made the table. Miettinen showing what he can do with his forehand. The Finnish fans really getting behind him and making as much noise as possible. He will help a player, I have to say. Someone who's 52 is incredibly fit, great mover. Here's Miettinen. As I say, former world #2, but has never medalled at a Paralympic Games. Came close in Beijing, where he lost in the quarterfinals. Also came close at the World Championships, where he finished 4th back in 2006. Did win gold though at the European Championships in the team event, and also won a couple of bronzes in the singles event in 2005 and 2007. So he has performed pretty well on the big stage before, even though he is well, exiting the singles competition this time around after dropping the first game to Last. Last will top the group. And Last looking good now in this third game. It's back to what we saw in the first game. Just hasn't been able to stay with Last in the majority of the rallies, Miettinen. It's another monstrous forehand. When he connects with it, it is so tough to live with, as Miettinen's finding. Well, no hangover from dropping the second game for Last. 7 game points for the Dutchman. First one is saved. And as is the second, for once, Last not finding the table with the forehand. Similar to what we saw in the first game, if you remember, Last leapt out into a big lead and then was pegged back at the end of the game. Miettinen then took a bit of that momentum into the second game. And again, finding the corner with the return, Miettinen. 3 out of the 7 game points saved. In fact, 4 out of the 7. 3 more to go. Well, it's 5 game points saved in a row for Miettinen. No wonder the worried expression on the face of the Dutch coach. This is a 6th game point for Last. Good job he had such a big lead. Miettinen just refusing to go away, and Last missing with another forehand. And a timeout is called, and you can understand why. It's déjà vu for the Dutchman.
Better than in your hobby.
So, still game point for last, but remember, we've already had 7 of them. And this time, he gets over the line. It was a little tighter than he probably would have liked, that game for last, but he edges back in front. Another topsy-turvy game of table tennis. But it's last who takes it by 11 points to 9. Well, that was a deceptive serve for Miettinen to start this 4th game. Saved 7 game points in the last game, meaning that he won 7 points in a row before eventually losing it. So it is the Finn who again is in that unusual position of having the momentum despite losing the previous game. It's been a better performance though overall from the world number 15 by Miettinen in this match than he performed against Kabastani. A few errors from both players, just almost feeling their way into this 4th game. Just a reminder that it is last who will move through into the knockout phases of the Group E winner, no matter what happens in the rest of this matchup. Of course, for his confidence and his belief, he'll want to get the win here, taking a bit more momentum into the knockout stages. Does really a good job of just leaning away and using that off forehand. Just nicking off the top of the net, and with that means that it does drift wide. A bit of the spin just deceiving last there. You can hear the Finnish fans shout with every point that Miettinen is able to win. That's fine table tennis from the 52-year-old. Big topspin forehand from last, but onto it in a flash was Miettinen, guiding the ball up the line. Oh, that's sensational. Nothing wrong really with the forehand from Miettinen, but this time it was Last who was there so quick. Look at the reactions here. Not only was he able to get there, but was able to brush over the top of the ball and whip it past Miettinen. afford too many more errors, the Finn. Found the table on that occasion. He was very close to missing the edge, but right into the back of the table again. The backhand holding up pretty strong. So twice in a row finding some good depth, Miettinen. And once more, Last, who's had a lead in every game, just can't shake off his Finnish opponent. Oh, that's spectacular table tennis. Turning defense into attack in the blink of an eye. Standing right up onto the table, taking all the time away from Last and then stepping up and firing the winner. Nothing you could do about that one, though. Super return from Last, and he's 2 points away from claiming his second win in Group E. That one does nick the top of the net, so once more, we have a very tight game on our hands, 9 points all. Oh, that's sensational. And listen to the noise from the Finnish fans. It was a huge forehand from Last, but not only is Miettinen able to get it back, but he's able to put it in the corner. And takes the game. Well, he trailed for the majority of the game, Miettinen, but as he has done in every game, he's peaked towards the end of it. And we are heading to a decider. It is the Finn, Esa Miettinen, who takes the fourth game by 11 points to 9.
Jij bent net iets te ver weg soms. Hij kan geen tempo meer maken en hij wacht gewoon de goede bal af. Ja, en dan gaat hij met een versnellingje komen.
So a decider. Last two was in a very strong position in the previous game, but unable to finish this match off. It's 2 games apiece. He's made the better start in every single game, Last, but Miettinen has shown a lot of fight, a lot of character, refused to go away. As I say, Last is through as the group winner in Group E, no matter what happens in this encounter. But of course, Miettinen will want to take away another win and put that by his name in his long list of achievements throughout his para-table tennis career. such an effective forehand, especially when you consider how far back in the table, or how far away from the table Last was. Only brushing up the back of the ball, though, to generate that topspin, to get it to dip down onto the table. Well, it's a fascinating matchup, isn't it? Because you've got the backhand of Miettinen that is so often causing Last issues. And yet it's the forehand of Last that he wants to try and get into play as much as possible. And there it is. Firing another forehand, this time up the line. Well, their last two meetings came in 2015. They each won a match. So they've had some battles in the past. The last one that went to 5 games, Miettinen won. And he'll be feeling that he can maybe nick this encounter. That's monstrous hitting from Last, but we've been here before, haven't we, in these games? He's had healthy leads in almost every one of them. Noise in this Rio Centro Pavilion 3 for a Brazilian playing on another table. 8 tables in this arena, so there's always plenty of noise going on around. Players having to keep their concentration and their focus on their own match. Isn't always easy to do. It's deja vu once more. Miettinen has showed so much mental strength, just refusing to be budged in every game. He seems to have raised his game every time he's gone behind. That's fabulous table tennis from Miettinen. It's been a dramatic match. It's swung one way, then the other. But it is the Dutchman with 2 match points. Takes it. Well, it's Lass then who secures his 2nd win of Group E and goes through with a 100% record. He is the group winner. It was a real battle though, wasn't it, against Esa MIETTINEN, who can be very proud of how he performed in that encounter. But I'm afraid he goes out of the Rio Paralympics in the singles event. A look of relief on the face of Lass. He was up in every single game, but was taken to a 5th. In the end, though, was able to get over the line. Battling performance from the Dutchman and the world number 8 and the bronze medalist from London 2012. Looking good in Rio 2016. It's Gerben Lass who is the match winner and the Group E table topper, so safely moving through to the knockout phases. He has defeated Esa MIETTINEN 11-8. 9-11, 11-9, 9-11, 11-8 in the 5th.